Hello, these are flipped notes 7-8 on social cognitive theories of personality, and it's our last section in Unit 7 on motivation, emotion, and personality, and it should be a pretty quick one. My Bitmoji is saying you can do it kind of in the style of Rosie the Riveter, because included in the social cognitive theories are the ideas of self-esteem and self-efficacy, which is all about you can do it. So let's get to it. So these social cognitive ideas were basically kind of stemmed from the ideas of Albert Bandura, but they come from the belief that we learn behaviors from conditioning, observing, and modeling, but we do combine those with cognitive perspectives. So it emphasizes the interaction of our personality traits with our situations. Most of the ideas in this section come from Albert Bandura, who we remember for the Bobo doll experiment. Remember that in that experiment, he said that we learn aggression through observation. So Bandura is implying here that much of our personality is learned through different models, but also through our cognitive processing of what we observe. A big part of Albert Bandura's theory is what he called reciprocal determinism. He said that our personality is shaped by the interaction between cognitive, internal, personal factors, so what we think, along with different behaviors and environmental factors. So our beliefs, values, and our thoughts, our social influences like our family, peers, and the media, and then our actual outward actions. So, reciprocal determinism would be our thoughts and feelings about a risky activity, like, say, bungee jumping. The environmental factors might be our friends who are into that stuff, our bungee jumping friends, and then the behavior itself, learning to bungee jump, that all of those kind of bounce off of each other. There's three ways in which individuals and environments interact together. One, we have different people, or different people choose different environments, and those all affect your personality. Think of your friends. These individuals influence the way you think about school, the music you like, where you choose to live, where you choose to work. That all of those are an environment around you, and they shape your personality. The next thing Bandura recognized is that our personalities shape how we interpret and react to different events. So some people are more calm, some are anxious. Your reactions to an emergency will be different depending on your personality. So how you choose to react and interpret different events. And then our personalities help create situations to which we react. So how we treat others is often how they in turn treat us. So if you're nice, others tend to be nice in return. If you're mean or aggressive, you tend to receive those kind of responses as well. Bandura also recognized the idea of self-efficacy, and this is a topic that has popped up so many times on the AP exam. But this is about your belief about your skills and ability to perform a certain behavior. So it's different than your self-concept because it's about specific situations, not just a general idea. So, for example, your self esteem is your respect that you have for yourself in general. Self efficacy is your belief in your capability to succeed in a certain situation. So, at a specific task, like, in general, maybe you have low self esteem, but maybe you're an artist. So, when it comes to having to draw or be creative, you have high self efficacy when it comes to art because you know your skills and your abilities in that specific task. The greater a person's sense of self efficacy, the more confident that person is in their ability to deal with life's challenges. So it has a powerful effect on our behavior and our personality, but it's still not considered a trait. Self efficacy is not considered a personality trait because traits are recognized to be in pretty much all situations. And self efficacy says that we feel confident only in certain situations because we have the skills to prepare for it. So maybe for AP tests, you don't feel very confident in general, but for my AP test, you feel like you're going to be ready because you've been learning and studying and watching flip videos and doing flipped notes all year. So it's possible to have low self-esteem, but high self-efficacy. I hope you have high self-efficacy for my course. Some other factors that tie in to your self-efficacy, to your belief that you can succeed at a specific task. Your mastery, so past success and failure impacts your sense of self. If you have succeeded in the past, then that's going to give you higher self-efficacy. If you've had lots of failures in the past for that specific task, then you're going to have lower self-efficacy. Vicarious learning, how you've learned from others. Have you had good models to learn from? That applies also to observational learning. And then your present state, just your current physical and mental health conditions can influence your belief in yourself to achieve success in different tasks. Our next part here is about personal control, our sense of controlling or being controlled by the environment. And there's two types identified by Julian Rotter. And there are internal locus of control or an external locus of control. With an internal, we'll do external first, locus of control, you have the perception that chance and outside forces and things outside of your control determine your fate. With internal locus of control, your perception is that you control your own destiny or your own fate. So internal, I control my destiny. In external, others control my destiny. So which is generally better? Which kind of mindset is better? Generally an internal locus of control. It says that you have control, that you can determine your future, your passion and hard work can help you achieve your goals. You can set the direction for your life. You can make things happen, and you're less likely to succumb to the pressure of others. But there are possible limitations to that. You know, there are some situations that really are out of your control, and sometimes you have to accept that. The internal or the external locus of control is sometimes associated, if it's high and it's present all the time, with more likely to feel symptoms of depression because they can feel like there's nothing I can do about my future. Why bother trying? Whatever is meant to happen will happen. I go with the flow. Luck, fate, and religion control my future. Things happen to me, not I control things. So sometimes people can get stuck in a depressive cycle thinking that they don't have control over their situation. Another aspect of personal control is the idea of learned helplessness, which this picture might look a little bit familiar to you because we talked about this in a previous section. But learned helplessness is where somebody, whether human or animal, has experienced multiple traumatic events that they couldn't escape from, and then they've kind of learned a passive and hopeless mindset that they cannot escape from things. In the experiment there, the dog, there were two different kind of contraptions. And in one, the dogs were shocked, but they could get away. They could run to the other side of the room and they wouldn't be shocked. And then in others, they had no control over it. And all they had to do was jump over this wall, but they wouldn't even try. We'll talk about that again a little bit more in class. But learned helplessness was identified more by Martin Seligman, and he's kind of identified an extension of psychology called positive psychology. But he said that's when we do feel no sense of control over our situation. And then that transfers to all other situations. So people who might live in places where they don't have a lot of control, prison, nursing home, I don't want to say schools, but sometimes schools, they can experience a lowering of their morals and increased stress because they don't feel like they have any control over their situation. Personal control, finally, this last part here, an aspect of that is optimism, that it is good to have a positive outlook, but you still need to have a sense of reality too, because too much optimism can be detrimental. For example, excessive senses of optimism can cause a person to be blind to different risks like AIDS and unwanted pregnancies, divorce, even dropping out of college. You've got to be realistic of dangers that are out there. Individuals with too much optimism can also be overconfident, and sometimes they're the least competent at a task. So, optimism is good, but not to the point where it's a flaw. All right, that's it for 7 8 and for Unit 7.